Prize Bills Mafia, what's going on? Just for those of you that don't know me, I'm Sean Kula from Red, White, and Bills. I'm filling in for Mini Mafia and Mafia Mom for the Mafia Means Family podcast. Hope the surgery goes well, and you guys are in our prayers. And I hope to be half as good as you guys are on your show. But I appreciate Tommy having me fill in. It's a great opportunity and an honor to be representing you guys. So also, for you guys that don't know Nickel City Mafia, they got a charity going for the Punt Foundation for Cordell, kid with childhood cancer. They have all the links and stuff where you can donate and share the link out if you can't donate monetarily in their description. And then also go subscribe to them as well. And you could also subscribe to me at Red, White, and Bills. But yeah, let's get into it. See some people, Spears Bills talk. What's going on? Go Bills. Nabil. Can Joe Brady save the Buffalo Bills offense? We will see. Can he save the season also? Great questions. We'll get into it. Hey, Patriots, we have Brady. We have a Brady now. Absolutely. Absolutely we do. And then Mafia Sports Report, go Bills. Awesome. Well, yeah, like I said, I really appreciate this opportunity to represent a great podcast, The Mafia Means Family, so hopefully I can do it justice. But I also got a little something fun planned. I want to try to do those playoff predictors, playoff simulators, where you just type in the games that go on this week and or this in the coming weeks, and then you can see if you go 11-6, can you still make the playoffs and things like that. Tommy says that. Thank you, Sean, for filling in tonight. You the man. Hey, I appreciate it. Right back at you, my friend. But yeah, I just wanted to, because I didn't really do much talking. I did a live show on my channel during the game, so I didn't really do a post game. Just talk a little bit about that game, and then, as Nabil says, talking about Joe Brady and us going forward. So, as Tommy said, this game was a must-win against the Denver Broncos for multiple reasons. I mean, it would put you at 6-4. You don't have another conference loss. You get a little bit momentum going into the Jets, and then because you got Philly next, and then you're expecting this team to come through and be ready to fight with their backs against the wall at home, especially. And just the same old coming out slow. And then the defense is stepping up, and then in the end, everybody chokes, and it was just. And when you look at the game, there was some good things. Defense had a lot of good things. Special teams was horrible as always, blunders and blunders. Offense again, 4 turnovers. You can't win football games like that. I'm sorry, as we've done it multiple times. And there was a stat. I gotta try to find it here. I think it was we're 4-1 when we have 1 or less turnovers. I gotta try to find it. I'm sure I already had it pulled up. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was if we're more than 2 turnovers, we're 1-4 or something. Yeah, 1-4, and then we're 4-1 if we get a turnover or less. So we gotta turn the ball over less. Simple as that. But I don't want to get in all that doom and gloom anymore right this second. So let's just move forward. We got Megan Elizabeth coming in. Hey, Mafia, can't wait to see how we take back our season. And that's a great segue. So Ken Dorsey is out. Joe Brady's in. And whether what people thought about Dorsey, whether they liked him or didn't like him, the team respected him. The guys loved him. And, depending on which way you look at it, the season's definitely not over. But, then you start questioning if the team really felt like they needed to move on from Dorsey. Why did they wait till week 10? But and it puts kind of Joe Brady in a bad position. But again, I was a Dorsey advocator even till the end, and then I was under when I think about it for myself, it's kind of like you could argue let's just say he has the worst play calling in the world, right? Worst play calling in the world, most predictable offense. When you look at these games that we lost, the Jets game, 4 turnovers. The Bengals game, we turned the ball over in the red zone and we got a field goal range with a penalty. That could have been 10 points. And you win and you score 28 that game instead of 18. And the past game against the Broncos, where you turned the ball over 4 times. Like, it was really just, even if the play calling was horrible, if we just didn't make catastrophic mistakes, we could be 8-2. Like, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They're 7-2. But their offense has been worse than ours. So, that's when I really started to think, like, yeah, I understand everybody's argument that his play calling wasn't great. I get it, 100%. But even so, we got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. We got one of the best wide receivers in the league. We have a well improved offensive line. So, to me, I really felt like it was just lack of execution, but it needed to happen. It needed to happen in the sense of these players and this team needs to understand this isn't the same situation it was a couple years ago in 2021 when we were 7-6. This is a more dire situation. We have a tougher road ahead, but Joe Brady comes in with motivation and a little bit of experience at the offensive coordinator position. And I'm not going to judge him off of what he did in Carolina because of the people around him, the team around him. So we'll see what he does. But I do know is that he wants to win just like everyone else does. And one thing he said that I liked in his press conference was we have to understand that it doesn't matter if you threw a touchdown or a pick to play before. The next completion is the one that matters the most. And it's funny because I used to bowl in high school, and I always use that analogy for bowling. The last frame doesn't matter. All that matters is the next one. You could get a gutter ball or a strike or a miss. Only thing that matters is the next one. And when Joe Brady said that, I really liked that. And it's a great attitude to have because when I've noticed when Josh plays, he makes a mistake in the beginning or something doesn't go right for the offense, and it seems like he just is just gutted and just doesn't want to continue. And he's got to understand that, hey, I got 59 minutes of football left. And I also, you guys all remember the Jags last year in the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence threw 4 picks in the first half, and they were down like 29-0. They came back in the second half and they won the football game. So I think him saying that should really sit with a guy like Josh and understand, hey, man, you're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. You're going to make a mistake. And it's how you respond off of that mistake. So that's one thing I liked about his press conference. It just hasn't seemed like our O has been having fun this season. Maybe Dorsey sucked the fun out. It's possible. But Tommy comes in and says McDermott has always coached to not lose a game rather than coach to win games. And I think that's part of it too, because whereas this can be true, two things could be true. It could be this is what McDermott wants. He wants to be just kind of how Matt Rule was in Carolina when Brady got fired. He had his hand in the cookie jar. And it's really hard. I mean, we've all had jobs maybe where you had a boss who was a micromanager. And, when I was in the military, the micromanaging leaders were the worst. And you never wanted to have one of them over you because you know how it was going to be. And, so there's like a micromanaging squad leader. If I'm a team leader, I can't run my team the way I prefer to run my team because the squad leader is going to try to have his hands in it instead of trusting me in my, leadership ability. So there could be a little bit of that. And then, going back to what Tommy said about McDermott coaching not to lose, it's really how it's been. And it's frustrating because it's year 7. Tommy and I have talked about this too. How long do you let McDermott keep going and going and going for? Because you either got it or you don't. And he's a great, great culture guy, great defensive coordinator. But we got to look at it as Bills fans. We're Bills fans. Is he going to be able to get us over the hump? And Spears Bill Talk says, I'll always love the Bills. Absolutely, my friend. It's the only way to be. What's up, Tommy? He's super conservative and tries to play it safe. He's crumbled in almost every big moment he's had as a head coach. And that's like, for example, people have been saying that Facebook, whatever you're looking at, whenever you say anything about McDermott, like, hey, I think we should move on from him if we don't make the playoffs. And everyone is so quick to jump to, oh, well, you want to go back to the 17-year drought? And it's like, no, because we have the players that it doesn't matter who's coaching. We should not be reverting back to a drought with the players we have. So McDermott, as Tommy mentioned perfectly here, in all the biggest moments, he's failed. And we've been regressing as far as playoffs go. So if we don't make the playoffs, there's no excuse why a guy like Josh Allen in his prime should not be into the postseason, whether we win a Super Bowl or not. He needs that chance and opportunity to prove that we can win this. And if he's not playing in the playoffs, it's a waste. And, you don't get many great years. We've been wanting a great quarterback for 20 years. We finally got him, and now we're just going to be okay if we don't make the postseason because of, because McDermott because he won his playoff games before. We don't want to move on. What's up, Jacob? Evening, Beth. Thanks for tuning in. Almost forgot to tune in. Shame on me. Don't sweat the small stuff. It's one thing I love. I love about life. Don't sweat the small stuff. And then he says he lost his locker room, and I'm tending to agree with you. They're never going to come out and say that, but I really think that's a possibility. And you guys remember Quentin Spain, one of my favorite offensive linemen that we've had. He tweeted he fired the wrong guy. And I know people will be like, oh, he's a disgruntled player, but he was a great player for us. He didn't allow a sack in his time with us for the year and a half, and he got I think I forgot what the whole thing was, but he missed a practice for something, and then we were about to play Tennessee, his old team, and then we benched him. So he's been there. He's been there since he was there, so he knew what the coaching staff was like, and the only guy that was left from that coaching staff is McDermott. So he knows, and hopefully, and again, I don't like when people lose their job, but how people will see because Dorsey's gone, Frazier's gone. The only person to have the sword fall on now is McDermott. And Beth brings up she is not sure if it's McDermott who lost the locker room or if it was Dorsey. Tommy, I made this point on a comment on a previous stream. Yeah, and that's the thing. What's also fun about content is we're never going to truly know the real answer, like with the Daboll situation, like who soured the relationship. Nobody's ever really going to know the answer unless they come out and say it. And that's what's fun about content too, is because we have the freedom, all of us, the people commenting, creators, to have a thought, and maybe it's right, maybe it's not. But it could be both, it could be both, it could be one. But the locker room is definitely not the same locker room that we're used to, accustomed to. Jake, what's up, brother? How's it going? Oh, and Jake and I talked about this, so I thought I'd bring it up. Did you guys catch Stefon Diggs' press conference today? They're asking him. It was a really good press conference if you haven't seen it, but they really were hammering in on what Trayvon was saying. Like Josh wasn't good till 14 got there, and got to get 14 out of there, blah blah blah. And then people were saying like, what's your commitment to this team still? Like I get asking him about what his brother said because that's some crappy stuff to say. But to continue to hound Diggs about his his willingness to be on this team or whatever is kind of that stuff that also makes people frustrated and can sour stuff as well. But yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that, but definitely something to watch if you haven't. McDermott is a great defensive coordinator, but below average head coach. And James, like Jake said, agreed. That's a perfect point because you look at guys like Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator for Dallas Cowboys, fantastic, horrible head coach. And it happened, and that's okay. You're not going to succeed at everything, and sometimes you're better at being a coordinator. That's why Dan Quinn could have a job again right now, but he's fine with being a defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. And, I was thinking maybe Daboll would be a guy to do that because, why take a head coaching job with a crappy team just to give it a shot when you can still have success with an offensive team and, see where you go with it, see it through kind of. Beth, they went from fun, loving, rap spitting, mic dropping Daboll to Dorsey, who I feel is way more uptight. Yeah, and it's weird though because they all clamored about how much they loved him and respected him. So it's like it felt genuine to me. But just like, kind of look at it this way. Josh always says, I'm not a vocal leader, which I also don't agree with. I think you need to be. But maybe that's just what Dorsey is. Maybe he's like, we know he's not calm because he can get crazy, but maybe that he's just a different type of guy. And, maybe it just didn't work out. I thought Diggs handled those questions really well. Yeah, I agree, Megan. I mean, I understand his frustration, but I also understand the questions. Like, people are going to assume that since he's not taking accountability for his brother or like saying like, I don't, my brother's just talking, I don't agree with it, well, whatever, that his brother's speaking for him, and his outlet. So that's why I think people were wanting him to say, oh, I mean, my brother's just being my brother. I mean, obviously I love this team, Josh Allen was an elite quarterback before I got here. He made me into the receiver I am today, because that's really true. They're both who they are because of each other. And part of growing as an elite quarterback is getting an elite weapon. And you've seen that with guys like Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, and Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Every elite quarterback needs at least one guy. So to sit there and and he's your brother, he's your family, but Josh is supposed to, you said these guys are your brothers and your teammates. So there should be a little bit of like a, all right, man, chill out kind of thing. Like Patrick Mahomes defending his, when his brother got arrested and do all that stuff. And he had to tell his family to calm it down. Like, you're bringing too much attention towards me. And if I was Diggs, I understand, like, you don't like when people ask you these questions, but then you don't do anything to change them from asking you these questions. So if you told your brother, like, or tweeted, all right, little bro, much love, but I'm a Buffalo Bill, I love this team, whatever. Like, I understand, but then I get why he's frustrated, for sure. Sometimes I wish Tommy was head coach for the Buffalo Bills. Tommy, can you fit that into your schedule, buddy? Because I got a couple people rooting for you for the head coach. I'll get behind that. Defensive locker room is fine. They're keeping us in it when we are super injured. The offense isn't having fun, so they aren't clicking. Yeah, and I'm also agreeing on like the winning kind of cures all. And like I said, you look at the Ravens. Lamar Jackson has just as many touchdowns as he does turnovers, but people are talking about him like he's the MVP of the league. And when you think about it, the only reason why nobody's talking bad about him is because they're 7-3. Now, we had the opportunity to be, 7-3, 8-2, 9-1 even, and it's just so that fumble on the handoff when I was doing a little film thing today, that was the epitome of our season. Dropped the handoff and Cook kind of kicked it, and it didn't go our way. I was like, this is what the Buffalo Bills 2023 season has been like. And all the real Buffalo pizza and wings you can eat, plus the tailgate you can't compete with. Oh, yeah. Miles, Jets have arguably the best quarterback in the league. I'm going to disagree with you, my friend, but I'm not gonna make you not say your opinions. Agree, Megan. He was so good. I love Diggs. I'm not worried about his loyalties. Oh, no, absolutely. I'm not 100% at all worried about his loyalty to the team. But like I said, I do understand why people were asking about his brother, because he talks to his brother, so people are assuming what he's saying is his brother's been complaining. So that's why, people have been bringing that up a little bit. Megan also agrees. Realistically, we should be 4-6 based on the Giants game. Yeah, but here I agree in a way, but here's how I took it. We got a gift, and then the following week we lost to the Patriots. So it was like we got the win against the Giants that we maybe shouldn't have gotten, and then the world came back to us and said, "Well, you got that win you shouldn't have had. Now you're going to lose to the Patriots." Looking back on it, I rather would have lost to the Giants because they're a non-conference team, and we got 5 conference losses. But none of that is at this point. We have to take it as we're 0-0, and we got 7 games. It's a 7-game season. It's a COVID shortened season, and we got to win as many games as we can based on the refs. Yeah. Like you said, I could not disagree with you there. It was a holding. We got gifted, but like I said, then the next game we lost. So I took that as like the world was coming back to say, oh, well, you got a game, you won a game you didn't deserve to, and here you go. Now you're going to take a loss that you maybe shouldn't have gotten. And, I don't know what to do but laugh, thinking like this team has such high hopes, and it's not over, but I mean, just picture where you guys were in the beginning of the season. And I mean, I don't like to say, like, I've been in the past said, oh, it's super, we got the Super Bowl this year. But this year I was like, I know we're a great team. I'm not going to say nothing like that. I'm just going to see what happens. Then I was at the Dolphins game, and I saw that happen. And I still didn't say, like, Super Bowl for sure. I was just like, wow, this team is really better than last year. Like, it's not just on paper, but we're actually performing like we're better than last year. And then for me, it was like when we beat the Chiefs last year and we were 5-1, we went into the bye. That's when I was like, yeah, that's it. That's our year, baby. We get the Chiefs again. We're 5-1. The 1 seed's going to be ours. We're going to win this Super Bowl. And then the whole season, we were winning games, but we weren't winning. Like Diggs said, we weren't looking good winning these games. It was just winning these ugly games. And I'm a guy like that where I'm not a win is a win type of guy. Right now I might be because we're desperate for wins. So now I am. But week 1 when we lost, a lot of people were like, it's week 1. Don't worry about it, guys. But I've been for years always saying like every game does matter because you never know when it's going to come back on you. And then now we're 5-5. Oh, it's just 1 loss. And then the Jags game, like, oh yeah, we were just in London, so it's I excuse that one. And then it's like, okay, then now we're now this happened. Now we're 5-5 all of a sudden. So, but yeah, Spears Bills talk, another great one. Is it me or is the refs bad this year? They are. You saw right. They are very bad. Refs suck this year across the board. Yeah, and it stinks because the stigma of if you complain about the refs, everybody's thinking you're making excuses. But if you look at it, it's every game there's something horrible and egregious. And I haven't watched any of the Ravens game yet, so I don't know if you guys have seen anything so far today or a score update or anything. But when the refs make decisions that change games and just stick their hands in it, it's just not as fun and it's frustrating. Megan, I heard some chatter that people think maybe the way Josh's offseason went with all of his extracurricular activities that may have affected how he's playing now. I don't agree with that, but your thoughts? Okay, so you mean like the commercials and things like that? I will say, I will bring up how I know Tommy did he calmed me down a little bit when this happened when Josh came out on the podcast, Busting with the Boys podcast, and said, I don't do anything in the off season. I just relax, eat whatever I want, and then my coaches get mad at me because I come back and I'm stronger than I've ever been, and blah, 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 blah. At first, I didn't like that at all because I'm like, well, I'm a type of guy who believes, and this is what people have taught me in my years of like running a business and, when I was in the military and stuff. The minute you think you made it, or the minute you think you had nothing else to learn, that's when you fail. And when he said that, it made me frustrated because I always knew how much work he was putting in the offseason, working with Palmer, getting his mechanics right, working on his accuracy, working on this and that. So when he said that on a national podcast, I was just like, I don't like that. But and I voiced that, and then Tommy's like, come on, he's going to be good, and because he's a guy that likes to look at it at the positive way because like Josh Allen's that dude. So he calmed me down a little bit. He said he'll be ready, that. And I said, yeah, you're right. And then now, he seems like a completely different guy, and I don't even know if I can blame that on Dorsey because he wasn't like this last year. You know what I'm saying? But also, if you think like the commercials and talking about that, maybe because he's always been open about not being that type of guy of like, wanting to be in the spotlight and things of that nature. But at the same time, it's like, you don't have to agree to the commercials, I mean, it's making me think like, oh, dang, it's going to be like Baker Mayfield. Baker got all the commercials and then things started going like wrong. And he's not Baker Mayfield. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it could be a factor because I've never been in that position, so I can't say 100%, but it could be because he's not the type of guy who wants that stuff, but he's agreeing to it. So I guess it's a weird kind of thing. But I hope that answers your question about like those all activities. 100%, bro. I agree. Yes, we should never think we're the best at anything. We can always do better and continue to learn and evolve. Yeah, and and that's what Josh said even last year, or it might have been the year before that. He was like, you can't stay the same. You always have to evolve into the next chapter in the NFL, or you're going to get figured out. Did you guys remember that? I think it was a year or two ago. So I was like, exactly. That's 100% great thought, Josh. Like, I love that from you. And then it's like, got his contract, got the commercials, got the Hollywood girlfriend. And then now it's like, what happened to that Josh that always wants to evolve? And, and just to throw this out there, I know the Mafia split on, do we want Josh to run more or not? I understand not wanting to do design runs for Josh, but him not running in the pocket when the pocket breaks down or when there's nothing open, I'll never know if that's what they told him not to do. It's just something we're gonna have to speculate. But I'm sure that they didn't say, "Hey, Josh, instead of rolling out and making a play with your legs and nothing's there, take a sack, throw a pick, or fumble the football, or anything negative." So I think that's more of him in his mind. But yeah, it's just so weird. It's just not the same Josh mentally. And then you look at one thing I didn't like that Joe Brady said was that when he looks at Josh's face in pregame, he exudes all this confidence and knows that we can do it. And I'm just like, have you seen Josh on the sideline? Like, he does not have any sort of confidence, in my opinion. Also, I was really hoping that they convinced Palmer to come be the QB coach for the rest of the season. Wow, that's actually, I never even thought about that. Maybe he would take that kind of thing. That'd be pretty cool. I'm in Canada, so I haven't seen any JA commercials. Which ones is he doing? Just curious. Oh, man. I mean, I probably don't see all of them either, but there's a Tostitos commercial. There's a cable commercial, a Verizon commercial. There's a couple other ones. I mean, they're fun. I get it. It's cool to see it's nice to see your quarterback out there. And, and I went out and bought Madden and fixed my PS4 up just so I could get it for him. So I get it, but yeah. And I'm not trying to say that Josh doesn't care at all. I'm not saying that. It's just, he says he wanted to rest his body and, football's hard on you, which, yeah, I get it. But you're still getting hurt every year. You're still your shoulder, your elbow, like it's still happening. And, now when a lot of teams, especially against us, and even look at Hurts and Lamar and all these actual, like, I don't count Mahomes as a running quarterback because he only runs when there's nothing open. So I don't count that. But the guys like Lamar, Hurts, and Allen, they're not running as much as normal either because defenses are keying in on spying them and making it so they can't run. So part of evolving is, like, this is what I was trying to get to earlier. In my opinion, part of evolving is knowing how to be a pocket passer, but also having the same knowledge of, I know when I need to leave. Like, sometimes he leaves too early and, it screws up the offensive line. But then sometimes he leaves early, like in the Tampa Bay game, and he got a wide open pass to Dalton Kincaid because the linebacker came in on him because he was running. So quarterback is a very tough position, but they're also the smartest guys in the field. So when he's making these boneheaded decisions, it's just like, what happened? Like, he's like hesitant to throw the football sometimes. Like, I was watching, and I encourage everybody, Kurt Warner's breakdown of the Broncos game in defense of Ken Dorsey, which he wasn't throwing shade at Josh Allen. He was just showing that it's really interesting. You just got to go watch it. It's 20 minutes, and Kurt Warner, Hall of Fame, one of the best quarterbacks. Oh, not the best quarterback in the world, but he had the best quarterback of the best offense to ever do it. So it's a very interesting point of view. Who is the quarterback coach now? Brady's doing both. I actually don't know. Has anyone else heard anything? Because I haven't seen anything, but maybe because he also hasn't said if he's going to be on the sideline or not. But that'd be interesting. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, that'd be probably a good idea. I don't know who they would promote or put in that position. A lot has also changed in Josh's life too since last season. It's no one's business but his. However, there could be a contributing factor. Absolutely, Beth, and that's a great point because that's what I was mentioning. Because I'm not afraid to admit it for me, but when I got out of the military, I had a couple years of a real bad stretch of mental health and depression and anxiety, things like that. And I'm only saying this because I went through it myself, and I'm sure we all have in some capacity. But I could see it in Josh's face where something's not okay, and I don't know. I'm never gonna know, and we're never gonna know. But who knows what it could be? It could maybe, yeah, because we don't know the story about him and Britt 100%. People have been saying stuff for years, but maybe it really took a toll on him, even though he's with another relationship. Um, maybe it's like you said, nobody's business, but it definitely could be something. She also says he seemed to be talking about being in the booth all out during his interview. Yeah, which is like, isn't that weird though? Because like he's been on the sideline the whole year, and it's like, why not just stay there? Because that makes me think. Because a lot of people were saying like, I want Dorsey to be on the sideline a couple times. Maybe McDermott wants him up in the booth. Well, I don't know, because it's just weird that he was on the sideline as a quarterback coach, which is normal, but all of a sudden you want to go back up there. I feel like he needs to be on the sideline. But I want to put this point out there for you guys as well. And I don't hate Joe Brady. I don't want anyone to think I hate Joe Brady. But Josh has been making bad mistakes for a couple years, his whole career, really. But he's on the sideline with Josh for the past year and a half with the tablet in his ear while Dorsey's up in the box, and he sees these mistakes happen, and they keep happening. They keep happening multiple times in a game. And he even said like he's a part of the issue. He was a part of the failure of the offense as well in his press conference. He mentioned that, which I appreciate the accountability on his end. But it got me thinking, like, if he wasn't able to do that next to him in his ear, how much is really going to change? And that's why I feel like it's unfair for him and for Dorsey, because if this was really just because Josh had something deeper going on in his mind and has just had a struggle this year, which is completely okay, nothing's this year could fix it until Josh can get healed. And again, I'm just speculating that something's wrong. I mean, it could just be a down year for him. But if it is something up here that he had been dealing with and that nobody knows about, sometimes you're just in a rut. We've all been there. And, the fact that he's even like, there was times I couldn't even leave the house. So if he's out there playing and still trying his best, and even though it's not what we want or as good as it usually is, who knows? But again, these are all things we're never going to truly know, which kind of stinks because you care about these guys. We're Bills fans. We care about the team. We care about the players. Even though the players come and go, we always love them. And we hate when they leave. We hate when they, get traded or, whatever. I got Devin Singletary. I got Levi Wallace. Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer's autographs on this flag here. And Singletary's gone. You're happy he's doing well, but you care about these guys. So I get it. I definitely get it. But it's interesting. Let me just to switch to a different thing real quick, and you guys can keep dropping stuff in the chat. I'm going to try to see if I can set up this playoff generator thing. And the way it would be is, let me just get on my phone so I can see the comments. And it'd be fun because then we can predict who wins and what together. And then we can see what scenarios the Bills can make the playoffs, because I'm a believer in all you need is 1% of anything. 1% to get a job, 1% to do this, and you can achieve it. So we're going to find out. Let me just get this out of here. Okay, let's see. Let's go to week 11. And then we're going to pick the games, and then it'll tell us what is what. Don't want to hate for this. Do you think Josh is a low IQ QB? James, no. I mean, that's a valid opinion. I never used to think that. And then this year I started to question that more. When people say stuff like the hurry up offense and the up tempo is good for Josh because he doesn't have to think. I don't like to hear that because I know the quarterback needs to think. So I definitely don't think you should get hate for that question. But good point. Good question. Buffalo's Matt C. Buffalo's a mid-franchise. Pagulas don't care about a Super Bowl ring. He just wants the team competitive enough to keep up ticket and merch sales for a few more years to help pay for his new stadium. I mean, who knows? That could be Beth. I'd say that, James, but he speaks so eloquently. He's definitely not stupid. No, absolutely. And I think he has it in him. That's just, I don't know. It just seems like it could just be a true down year for him. All right, so let's just do this. This might be fun for us to do together. We'll do all the games just to make it easy. All right. Bengals, Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to win, and it'd be awesome if the Ravens won because it helps us out. So I'm going to pick the Ravens. And then James says, I agree, Beth. I think he's a smart guy, but just talking QB smarts. Yeah. All right, guys. It'd be awesome for the Raiders to win, but let's just say the Finns win this one. Be realistic here. I think. I think the Steelers get this one. Jags, Buffalo. I picked in my weekly picks. I picked the Cardinals to upset the Texans, but we'll just pick the Texans for fun. Then we got the Chargers, we get the Vikings, we get the Eagles. And these games don't really matter because they're all NFC games. Okay, now let's see this week. Submit week to pool. See how this works. I'll log in. What the heck? Oh, no, it works a little bit. Okay. All right, so now let's go to week 12. Now we're 6-5, and we're still near the bottom. Now let's continue. Yeah, we are the 8th spot, I think. All right, Jets, Dolphins, guys. You think the Jets split with them? Yeah, we'll say the Jets split with them. Bengals, Steelers. This is big too. The Bengals could be 5-5. Who do you guys like here? They haven't played once yet, so do you want to say they split? We'll say they split. Or we'll put the Bengals this time. This is a big game. Texans, Jags. We'll pick the Jags. Broncos, Browns. What do you guys think? Well, Chiefs will win that one. Ravens will win that one. What do you guys think here? I'm going to say it's just tough. It's tough. We'll say the Browns win that one. And you think we got the Eagles? Oh, let's just say for this time, we'll just say we lose to the Eagles. They're NFC games, so that's fine. And we'll pick the NFCs. Okay, now what? Now the Bills are 6-6, and we're 10th. All right. Now let's go to week 13. And again, anything can happen, guys. This is just like for fun, just to see a scenario for us. And this is when we're on a bye. We'll say the Chargers win, the Titans win. This is tough. Denver will take it. Browns are out. Oh, I already went past that one. Sorry. We'll see how it turns out. But how about the Texans Broncos? And we'll say Dolphins win, Steelers win, Jets Falcons. Say the Falcons win, Rams win, Chiefs win. Broncos riding high. Okay. Give it to the Broncos. Now it puts us at the 11 seed. We're on a bye. Now let's get to week 14. Patriots Steelers. They both have bad offenses and good defense. I will say the Patriots can take that one. Jags. Give the Jets that one. Give the Bengals this one. Give the Bills that one. Give the Chargers that one. Give the Ravens that one. Give the Vikings that one. Now we're 7-6, and we're the 9th seed. Saying, hey, Sean, I was wondering your opinion about Jim Harbaugh for potential head coach replacement. Harbaugh gained success in the league and managed to take 49ers to the Super Bowl. Josh Allen type. That's actually a great point, Sink. And I wouldn't be against that, especially if we miss the playoffs. I'm definitely wanting a new head coach, and that's actually it's actually a really good option. So I'm with you on that. I'd love to have that. Best said Steelers, and then this is for Shiggles, as I like to say. Yeah, absolutely. But it could. You say Steelers for the Patriots game? Okay, we'll give them that. And then Dolphins Titans. We'll say Dolphins. And then we'll move on. Week 15. As for right now, we are 9th, so we're still out of the playoffs. Give that to the Raiders. Give that to the Colts. I said the Dolphins will split with the Jets. I already picked them to lose, right? Did I pick the Dolphins to lose already against the Jets? Texans, Ravens, Chiefs, Browns, Lions, Bengals, Bills. And then we're the 8th seed at 8-6. How this is going. Week 14. All right. And week 15. All right. Week 16. We're one spot away. Bengals, Steelers. I can't remember which one I picked first. Can you guys help me out? Did I pick the Bengals first last time? I can't remember. Bills are beating the Chargers. We'll say the Browns beat the Texans. Patriots beat the Broncos. Chiefs win. Jets win. Colts win. Cowboys win. Ravens win. And look at that. We are now in the 7th spot. But look at this. We still got a shot at the division. So we're in the 7th seed right now at 9-6. Two games left. Week 17. Jets, Browns, go with the Jets. Colts, Ravens, Bills, Texans, Chiefs. Well, we'll let them split. Broncos, Jags, Seahawks. And then what do you know? We're back, baby. We're in first place in the division. And then you got the Week 18 game against the Dolphins for the division. Jets win, Bills win, Ravens win, Bengals win, Texans win, Jags win, Chiefs win, Raiders win. And the way we did that, somehow the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Bills all made the playoffs. I don't remember picking the Jets to win that many times. You got the Ravens 1 seed, Chiefs 2 seed, Jags 3 seed, Bills 4 seed, Steelers 5 seed. And then you got the Bills, Dolphins, and Jets. So that's possible. Now let's go back a couple weeks just to backtrack and see, if something different happens. So let's say we lose to Dallas. Let's say we lose to Dallas. Then we still win the division. If it happens how that happened. We'll be lucky if that happens. Yeah, Joey, it's more of just like because hey, I wish I can guess it, but this was just like picking the teams kind of thing and see different avenues of winning and making the playoffs. Which is this scenario is actually really possible because the Dolphins, they could split with the Jets, right? I really don't think the Jets will get the 7th seed, which I might have screwed the Texans a little bit by accident. However, that's a little fun thing, and it isn't impossible, but this just goes to show other people start losing, things can happen, and you truly never know. So you never know. I hate to say it, but it is a week-to-week league, and depending on who wins tonight, we might get some help more. Yeah, and that's the crappy thing a little bit about this game is like if we beat the Bengals, their season is on the line tonight, and we're good. Even if we lost to the Broncos, you're good, baby, because then you're 6-4, and you got the tiebreaker over the Bengals no matter what. So we'd be sitting here like, all right, we good. Even if you beat the Patriots, we're 6-4 right now. You're feeling good, and that's the difference. This is really going to show what this team is made of. Excuse me. And I've been saying that for a couple of weeks, actually, because their backs have been against the wall and they haven't shown up. And maybe, they all love Dorsey, and whether people think it's his fault or not, maybe they'll feel responsible and understand, wow, this happened because of us. But the caveat to that is it could also have another negative effect. And Josh, who's also doesn't seem like to be in a good mental state at this point in time in the year, could make it even worse by feeling awful that he got his friend fired. So, man, I just hope I hope they can turn it around, because they can. They got the talent to do it. Everybody has their shortcomings, but they absolutely have the opportunity to do this. And again, there's no way we should be in this position right now in week 11. But we've seen crazier things happen. All we got to do is take care of business for us and let the chips fall where they may. The Browns do have a tough schedule to end it. They're 6-3 right now. They also play the Steelers, who are 6-3 this week. So one of those teams will be 7-3, and the other team will be 6-4. And at this point, I'm hoping it's the Browns, because they lost their quarterback, they lost their running back. So the chances of them losing is probably higher. The air in the room seems thinner now that Dorsey is gone, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but maybe this will give a spark for them to light a fire under their double hockey sticks, under their A double hockey sticks. Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking too. Whether it was his fault or not, they're going to have to feel this and know that we're way better than this. And the players only meeting should have helped a little bit, as far as when people wonder what would I say. And a fellow Nickel City Mafia, Mike, who I just mentioned earlier about their channel for their charity event, he asked me, what would you, Sean Kula, do from Red, White, and Bills if you were in a players only meeting in the locker room? And I was a leader my whole life as far as sports, and I was in the military, so you don't always have to be a guy to curse and to yell, but you do need a voice. And that's why I don't like when Josh says he's not a vocal leader, because maybe you need to be, because part of being a leader also is going out of your comfort zone for your men and for your guys or your girls, whoever you're in charge of. So anyway, what I would say would be, all right, guys, right now we're 5-5. We know the kind of team we got. We know the kind of guys we got in this locker room. Sure, we could pack it in. A lot of people have packed it in already. I know the odds don't say we're going to make the playoffs or whatever, but all we can do at this point is either put our tail between our legs and give up, or we can fight to the end, no matter what the outcome is, and go out there every game like it is the playoffs or it is the Super Bowl, and then see what happens. You don't have to necessarily be cursing up a storm and, go crazy on your players. Well, if we happen to not make the playoffs or a wild card and don't make it any further, we'll have a better draft pick, I guess. That's a silver lining, even though I don't want that to happen. Yeah, that's the only problem, Joe, is that we're just like the old Bills at this point. Not bad enough to get a great draft pick, but not good enough to be in the playoffs. But I do think we can make it, as much as it stinks right now and it just sucks and feels horrible. You don't feel enjoyment anymore, and I get it, but it is possible. And Watson's hurt. Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking like it might be better in that way. It looks like we were starting to make a little chemistry last week, but every time we do it, it seems like some dumb penalty or an interception or a fumble comes up and puts them right back. Absolutely, Joey. And that's kind of what I was saying. Like, as much as people could or want to blame play calling, which I'm not going to disagree or fight back on that statement, if you just think about it, even with that, you could say it's the worst. You could, say it's predictable, but it wasn't the defenses in a sense that were beating us. It was bad decision making, bad luck, bad penalties. Like, false starts aren't the defense. Holding isn't I guess you could say it is the defense, but it's on the off, it's on the players. So if you turn the ball over 4 times, and that's the one thing I do want to say about the whole Brady thing. If things don't go right, I hope nobody in Bills Mafia is going to start blaming Joe Brady's play calling. Also, if we do start winning, I also don't want to hear this was a great move, because we have to look at it like this. If we don't turn the ball over, we win football games. If we turn the ball over, we don't. So it wouldn't be fair to say, oh, this was the exactly right thing we needed and Dorsey was a problem the whole time, because I want to see if we turn the ball over 4 times. Well, I don't want to see that, but it'd be a fair assessment to say, oh, if Brady turned the ball over 4 times, or Brady's offense turns the ball over 4 times and we win by 10 score or by 10 points. Yeah, I get it. That's, that's a good move. Apparently it didn't matter that we turned the ball over 4 times, but if we go in there and Josh is making great throws and all of a sudden his drive is back and receivers aren't dropping the football and we're not fumbling, that's different, because we'd be still winning if the same thing happened with Dorsey in. Aaron Rodgers says, if you can't catch, you suck. Get him off my field. Josh said he might have to be more of an idiot towards his players to get the most out of them. I don't see it. And yeah, that was kind of what I was saying, Joe. I spent a lot of years having to learn how to read people, because in the military, even too, you could find yourself in a lot of trouble if you slight someone, even if it's nothing wrong. So if I didn't know my soldiers and I went to one of them and treated that person like I treated my other guy, and they didn't like it, it could be, I could lose that person as, believing in me. So I had to make sure I knew how all these people wanted to be treated. Some people like tough love. Some people like to be yelled at, and, I never like to yell, but some people liked it when you were a little hard on them. Others needed more of a teacher. Justin says, what's up? What's up, my friend? Make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel. If you haven't, I'm sure you guys are already subscribed, but hit that like button too. We gotta get Mafia Sports Report to 6K. It's only a matter of time. But yeah, so I agree. You don't have to be an idiot like Rodgers is to be a good leader. It's just more about being a teacher. And my job of being a leader was to make my soldiers better than me. So it's kind of just a different way to look at it. How do you fix Josh's reads? He regrets big time, and it worries me with more than missing playoffs. Yeah, and that's a great thing. And I wish I could give you the answer to it. The only person who really could would be Josh, because this was never really an issue that I could notice, in my opinion, previously, even last year, because he's always had you can't look at the turnovers necessarily for his reads, because he's always had turnovers. But this year, it just seems like, in that Kurt Warner, like I said, you guys got to go check out Kurt Warner's breakdown from the Broncos game. A lot of those plays were open immediately, and he hesitated to throw the football, or the easy plays that everybody was asking for. Like, why was there no easy plays for Josh? They were there, but he just doesn't take it. And I don't know. I really don't understand what his issue was this year. Don't get me. Oh, let me go back. Look at Josh Allen's numbers for interceptions at 94. It's the most in the NFL. If he would have only made maybe 64, he would have a Super Bowl by now, or at least people would look at him in a different light. And don't get me wrong, I love my Buffalo Bills. I have my own group, the 12th Man Mafia, and I've been watching him and been a fan since 97, 98. Wow, that's awesome, Joe. I was born in 95, so, I always love to hear the OGs. Bad play calling lead to more interceptions because a QB will try to force to get a rhythm going. See, that for me, I don't agree with that, because I get your point, but at the end of the day, Josh can't just look at that and be like, okay, because I didn't like the play call, I'm just going to throw a pick and stare the guy down. The play call could be not what he likes, but staring down a receiver and then having the cornerback just stare at Josh, stare at the receiver the whole time is easy to pick off. I could pick an interception. I can get a pick in the NFL if that's what Josh is doing. And, I haven't played in a long time. But the rhythm is there because in all these plays that we had, it was always built in to have a safety net for Josh. And he never wanted to do it. And he even said in his press conference the other day or today or whatever, I have to not get bored. I have to learn to not get bored with the underneath stuff. He doesn't want to win that way. He wants to throw it deep a million times and win with flashy plays. When I always say you got to grow up, because part of evaluating yourself and elevating your play is to do things that you don't want to do also. Even Tom Brady was telling you, you got to take the underneath stuff. I won 6 Super Bowls and the best quarterback in the world by doing that. And then it's part of the game because everybody plays you cover 2 shell. When you hit the underneath stuff and it's boring, I know they will have to come up. And then once they do, boom, big play. And if he says it himself, it's from the horse's mouth. I gotta learn to not get bored with the underneath stuff. So, but I get your point. But like I said, as bad as the play calling could be, if we don't have these turnovers, we're 9-1. Because I will say the Jags game, the Jags should have scored 40 points, but the defense got 3 fumbles inside their red zone. So, it was that was our only game I think we really were bad. If the player is on offense for scoring points, we wouldn't even be talking about Dorsey not being here. So technically, the players got him booted. Yeah, and that's unfortunately that's just how it goes in the NFL. You're not going to fire players, so the coaches are held accountable, and it's kind of how it is in I always like to use analogies for me and my business and things that I've done. So I got an employee. I could tell him or her, all right, we're going to be at this house. I have a cleaning company. We're going to be at this house. You're going to go in the bathroom. You're going to get behind the toilet. You're going to get underneath the toilet. You're going to take the clips off the toilet. You're going to wash underneath them. You're going to put it back, and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to come back and check it in 10 minutes to make sure it's to the standard. Okay, no problem. Then I come back, and then none of it's done. There's only you say this, they still didn't do it, and you're still responsible. So Dorsey and the coaches can say, hey, Josh, on this play design, what's supposed to happen is, Diggs runs a go, and then Kincaid's going to run underneath when Diggs clears out. Kincaid will be there within a half a second. Hit that guy. And not that that's how it goes, but let's just say that's what happened. And then he goes, okay, got it. And instead he throws it to Diggs and throws a pick. Like, Dorsey's like, okay, like, why'd you do that? So players ultimately have to play. The odds on you giving up 4 turnovers and winning a game is less than 3%. Yep. And we've lost many, many times by that. Josh Allen needs a scolding and maybe a spanking and to be set in the corner for a little while. Love you, Josh. Sometimes people need tough love. Yeah, and, it's no secret that it's also part Josh, and we all love Josh Allen. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And if you really think about it, if he wins those big games, if he doesn't go 0-5 in overtime, if he doesn't lose to Mahomes in the playoffs, and he has Super Bowls and Super Bowl MVPs and MVPs, he's better than Mahomes. So, I mean, that's just the name of the game. He doesn't win the biggest games, unfortunately, even though he played well in that 13-second game. He's 0-5 in overtime, which isn't always his fault. But, that's the difference is once Allen can get through that hump, he will be looked at and could be the best in the league. Jeff says Joe Burrow might be out for some games. Looked like he couldn't throw. Oh, I might even see what happened. Did he get sacked or something? I also wonder, will Brady call plays to make Allen happy and comfortable? Will he not making Sean happy and focus on running the football? I go back and forth with this thing because this is actually a absolutely great statement. We don't even look at Dorsey's play calling from the first year. I hated how much we went deep, right? I didn't like it. And all of a sudden, we did something totally different. And, when you look at what Brady's going to do, Brady's going to have to be somewhat of a yes man too because he wants a job. So if McDermott's like, hey, I want to run this, Brady can't say no. And I also do want to say too, I also find it unfair in a way because the beat reporters that have channels, you guys know all of them by now. They were mentioning, Brady's going to be able to talk to Josh and say, hey, what do you like and what don't you like? Well, here's my thing. Why weren't they doing that anyway? If it's about winning, why wouldn't they all in that QB room, Josh, Kyle Allen, Dorsey, Brady, say, guys, this is what we like, this is what we don't like, and so on and so forth. But now people are going to speculate that Dorsey didn't want to hear anybody's comments and just wanted to run his show. Or because someone also said, what if Brady had plays that he wanted to call, but Dorsey wouldn't listen? Like, now we're just going to speculate and tear down the guy. So, but my thing is, if Brady did have plays in his mind, why didn't he bring them forward? And I find it unfair because I think Josh should have been saying, Dorsey or Ken, because we're friends, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. And that's why I'm wondering, how much does McDermott have in this offense? And that's why I think nothing will change until McDermott's gone, because we're never going to know. So that's all. But that's a great point. We're never going to know what's going to happen. I can tell you why we don't get a lot of yak yards. Josh doesn't hit the receiver on the move as a target passer. He did not go to work with Palmer, and his shoulder injury showing up. Yeah, that's a good point too, is sometimes he doesn't hit him in stride and they can't get yak. So definitely makes a lot of sense. Beasley was his best target and security blanket, and he misses him a lot. Yeah, and you can see now Kincaid is turning into that security blanket. He's been outstanding. But Josh just has to. Here's the thing. Josh is the leader. Everybody knows he's the best on the team. Everyone knows he's the franchise guy. All the commercials, all this, all that. Everybody knows. So when they see him down or not himself, everybody else is down too. So Josh just needs to believe in himself and who he has been for the last 3 or 4 years. And yeah, his stats are still really good minus the turnovers, but nobody can make me change my mind to thinking that this team can turn it around. Yeah, I don't want to all I've known is failure, with this team. I wasn't born for the Super Bowls or anything, so I never got to see the greatest times. So now, at this point, I'm a little reserved. I'm like, damn, I know we can do it, but it's so bleak right now. I don't want to just be like, oh, it's guaranteed, and then get let down. But they can absolutely do this. I was just going to say that. Don't like to take the underneath stuff. Captain check down. Tom Brady made a career out of it and won 6 titles. Yeah, and you don't even have to do it all the time. You just have to do it right now because that's what they're doing to beat you, is knowing that you're not going to be patient. And that's what Kurt Warner was saying too. Josh hasn't been patient. He's being very hesitant too. When a play is open, he's hesitant, and then he's not patient for other things. And it's very eye-opening. Whether you like Dorsey or not, or whatever you think, the Kurt Warner breakdown from the Broncos game is just incredible watch as well. So I do recommend after this, and you got 20 minutes at some point, you should check it out. I know it would never happen, but I'm down for Josh McDaniels as OC for Allen. He made Jones look good on his first season. Yeah, if anyone could get it done, but at the same time, if McDermott's the head coach, McDaniels isn't going to be able to run his offense. It's going to be McDermott's hand, it feels like. Previous years we were in these close games, but this year we have not. Yep. And, that's also the big thing, too, is, like I mentioned, the Chiefs earlier, their offense has been worse than ours, but they are 7-2, and we're 5-5, and they're the one seed. They're the 1 seed in the AFC, and they're struggling. So it's just the chips aren't falling for us. All right, it's 14-10 Ravens, so that's good. It's good, but then the Bengals need to keep losing games because we want them to lose as many as possible so we don't have to worry about the tiebreaker. And then the more people lose and we keep winning these games, things are looking good for us. So we can't expect to see us in the playoff spot for a few weeks as per the playoff simulator, unless I had us losing to the Eagles. So unless we beat the Eagles, then we probably will be in the playoffs at that point at 7-5, depending on who loses. But we can't lose another AFC team. So if we're going to lose a game or two, it has to be the Cowboys and the Eagles, because 6 AFC losses doesn't look too good, and it's going to look hard. And right now the Steelers, Browns, and Texans all have 2 AFC losses. We already have 5. Bengals have 4, so it'll be helpful for them. But they're not in the playoffs either right now. The Bengals are out. as of right now. They're the 9 seed. They're the 8th seed. The Colts are the 9th seed, and we're the 10th seed. But yeah, guys, you got any other questions or things you want to talk about before I wrap it up here? Had a great time representing Mafia Means Family podcast. So again, anyone got some more questions, I'd love to take them. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you go check out Nickel City Mafia and go check their description of their last video and see their description about Cordell and the boy that they'll be raising money for, and then subscribe to them as well, and subscribe to me at the Red, White, and Bills. I don't like to plug myself, but Tommy told me to. So I appreciate Tommy allowing us to spread our platform. So definitely appreciate that. He's a great man. See, Patrick Mahomes would not be the quarterback he is today if his coach did not tell him to the offense to Mahomes' strengths. Yeah, and you have to figure out strengths, and then sometimes you gotta try things, and the things don't work. Things aren't always going to work, so you do have to revisit stuff. And it's a game that's always changing, so you always have to see what's new and what's old, and things are always changing. But great point, Joe. Any other questions for the great viewers out there? You guys were awesome tonight. I had such a blast. Did you guys like that playoff little simulator thing? I hate doing that because I feel like it's back when we were in like 2000, the early years right before we made the playoffs for the first time, where we're like, see if we do this and we can make it, and we're all set. So it's I don't like doing that, but I just had to put it out there in the world to see that this is possible. But if nobody else has any statements or questions they want to have, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Mafia Sports Report, Mafia Means Family podcast. It was an honor to represent those two awesome people. Hopefully they see it and they're happy and proud that I was able to represent them. But Joey also says Josh Allen doesn't have that veteran quarterback talking to him on the sidelines no more. He's got his buddy, and that's probably not a good thing. I've always said that too. Like, it's a great point. Josh has to stop picking out his friends and worry about winning. Kyle Allen is smart, but I mean, gotta get someone else in there, I think. But also, Tommy, thank you for thinking of me to cover tonight. It was a pleasure. And subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it out. I know Tommy might forget to tell you guys, like he always says in the beginning of his videos, but I always try to remember. So make sure you like and subscribe. And I really appreciate you guys. You guys are rocking and made the show awesome, because that's I could speak for all the creators on this platform and everywhere else. We do it for y'all, and without you guys, it's not nearly as fun. You guys run the chat. You guys make it so fun and awesome, and your opinions mean just as much. So we all appreciate you. And go catch the rest of that game, and we'll hit the outro, and we'll see you guys next time. Go Bills!
Bye.
See, Peter, he's too fast.
You gotta tackle me. It's B. You gotta press B.
I'm pressing B. He's too fast.
Going over here? Going over here now? Never get tired.